You are now listening to the Two Shots Podcast, a part of the Shotgun Sports Network, with your host, Gary Fitzjarrell. We are bringing you interviews from around the shotgun game and covering the sport from a different perspective, behind the scenes, beyond the shoot, and before you hear it at the club, you will hear it here first. If you want candid, unedited, unhinged, and truthful interviews, you are in the right place. Visit us online at twoshotspod.com and check us out on social media.
All right, everybody, we're back here on a overdue podcast. We've been a little bit busy here on Two Shots at FLC Shooting Grounds, and we finally had time to make another one. We've been busy shooting, not talking about shooting, but tonight we have Derrick Mein on his way to Italy for the World FITASC. So how are you, Derrick?
I'm doing good.
All right. Well, we just had a nice brass door dinner and several drinks. So what have you been doing this year? You have been busier than hell.
Yeah, I've logged almost 40,000 air miles already, not counting this upcoming trip to Italy. And hopefully I got another 25 or 30,000 air miles left to go this year.
Where have you been this year?
Cyprus, Peru, Italy, and Azerbaijan prior to this trip to Italy.
And doing what?
I've been shooting as part of the U.S. national team, shooting bunker trap at the ISSF World Cups.
How you been doing?
I've had a pretty good spring. I missed the final by 2 in Cyprus. I think I finished like 15th, 18th, somewhere in there. Went to Peru, and I took home the bronze. And then in Lonato, Italy, I shot pretty good there. Ended up missing the final by 1. And then in Azerbaijan, I shot the high qualification score, but fell victim to some guys shooting out of their mind. Incredible world-class scores in the finals, and ended up 4th.
Gotcha. Where were they from?
You had Liptak was from the Czech Republic. He ended up breaking 59 out of 60. And then Al-Rashidi from Kuwait broke 58 out of 60. And I think it was Daniel Reska, the Italian that got bronze, was 47 out of 50 when he got eliminated. I was 35 out of 40 when I got eliminated.
Yeah, and for the folks out here that really don't understand what we're talking about, I mean, we all hear Olympic or bunker or whatever you want to call it, and we kind of know the outline of what you're doing. But we actually, obviously, in America, it's trap, skeet, sporting clays. We're really just sporting clays anymore for a lot of people that do it recreational. Can you tell everybody a little bit more about what's going on with, like what they do for fun over there, if you can call it that?
Yeah, so over in Europe, pretty much the rest of the world, if you mention the game trap, they are not talking about American trap that has a 42 to 45 mile an hour target lobbed out in front of you. It's you have targets anywhere from 45 degrees left to 45 degrees right, and they're traveling anywhere from 60 to 65 miles an hour. So they're getting with it. And in qualification, you get 2 shots on each target, but when you get to the final, it becomes a single shot game.
Well, like I said, the thing is, like, if you're traveling through and you're going to talk about going shooting, obviously in Mideast, Kuwait, Qatar, and all that stuff, you're not talking about going to go shoot a big giant trap club. They're shooting bunker. They shoot bunker for fun.
Yeah, they do. You can go any weekend and you can hit 4 bunker trap tournaments within a couple hour drive, and go shoot your 50 or 75 targets at each one, and it's nothing to win $1,000 at each one if you go and were to win each one. And so that's what we're competing against. Whereas here in the U.S., we have 3 meaningful shoots in the U.S. a year, and then if you make the team to go to the World Cups, you might add another 4.
Yeah, that's of course, like I said, they do hold the Olympic, 4 Olympic, 4 World Cups. 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 4 there's not I mean, obviously, it's not the NSCA that binds everybody together. Several different organizations. I mean, of course, the way we put emphasis on our All-American teams, Team USA, or like FITAS does the world ranking of the top FITAS shooters, but besides FITAS shooters, nobody gives a shit. The reality is those guys hold the Olympic and the World Cup shit pretty highly, don't they?
Yeah, you go to one of those weekend shoots in Italy, and like you take the Green Cup for example. We shot in it last year. I think my buddy Seth, he made the final. He shot a 120, I believe. But there were 3 Italians that made that final that aren't on their national team or on their B team, if you want to call them that. Their secondary team that travels to some of the long range travel events. So you're competing against a country like Italy that has 100 people capable of competing with their national team at the World Cup level.
Because they do it so much. I mean, that's what they do.
That's all they do.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to go shoot, Possum Run Acres and shoot a sporting clay tournament. They're going to go shoot bunker today, and and I think we touched upon this our first episode we talked a little bit about the way their bunkers are set up, and going a little bit. I mean, it's a game for guys that don't shoot it. That whatever, a target's a target, but explain to everybody a little bit more about background, visibility, and how they do their bunkers. I mean, we shoot Kerrville, Tucson, Fort Benning, so on and so forth, and they're all different backgrounds. But explain a little bit more about how the Europeans are set up.
Yeah, you shoot here in the U.S., and so many bunkers are built into the terrain. Most of them are built off the side of a hill or off the side of a cliff, so you don't get a true flat background. You're victim to whatever's in the vision beyond. You go over to Europe, pretty much everywhere I've shot outside the U.S., the ground is built up to level with the house, and it's level out to the 76 meters at least that the target has to travel. So you get a good, solid, steady background. Most gun clubs over there have either a berm or a wall built to catch shot, and so the target never leaves that background. So you get full visibility of the target against a contrasting background all the way through where you're going to shoot the target. Here in the U.S., like you take Tucson, for example, the target goes through 5 different colors of background before you gets to a point where you can get the gun on target.
Yep. It is. And then you go down to Fort Benning, and it's pine trees.
Yeah. Fort Benning's probably got as good a background as any place in this country.
Pine trees.
But there's such a low elevation. The target is 4 to 5 miles an hour faster when thrown to distance than anywhere else in this country.
You got to get through all that heavy Georgia air. But tell everybody about Azerbaijan. For everybody out there listening to us tonight, Google where Azerbaijan is, and then you know what we're talking about.
So we were in the city of Baku. Actually, where we were staying was below sea level. The gun club is at like 200 or 300 feet above sea level. And they had AstroTurf for 130 yards from the shooting position, and then a berm beyond that. So you had absolutely amazing visibility, but the targets were faster than anywhere else we've shot this year at a World Cup because of such low elevation. So that's why scores were a little bit lower than some of the other World Cups. But if you look at them, they were stacked in really heavy, which tells me that everybody could see the targets really well, and the speed was what caused your mistakes.
Yeah, it's like I said, it is a different world, and everybody thinks, target's a target. Well, I shot wobble trap one time, and I was okay at it. But the reality of it is these guys are playing, it's major league. The quality of athlete in that game is absolutely major league.
Absolutely. It's you're talking about like this year that the New York Yankees they're on pace to set a wins record for their franchise. That's what we're facing every time out shooting a World Cup, is that kind of a level of athlete.
Yeah, every day they shoot it, and like I said, that's all you do, and that's all you see, and you can go to, like you said, 4 clubs in the same day. That's 4 bunkers. I mean, Jesus Christ, if you had to drive the 4 bunkers in the U.S., you'd wear out a pickup truck, and you couldn't do it in a week.
You'd be changing your oil twice a week.
Oh my God! But anyway, that's interesting. So speaking of all this ranking bullshit and all this other stuff, where are you ranked?
Well, my performance in Azerbaijan was good enough to overtake the world #1 ranking.
That's pretty good. So what actually does that mean?
In the grand scheme of things, it just means that I've had a better 4 shoots than anybody else on the planet.
And it doesn't get you in the Olympics.
And doesn't get me anywhere other than it's got me to a point where people know who I am in that game now.
Well, that's great. That's something, Derrick. Somebody from Qatar knows who you are, so that's always good. It depends on if something shows up ticket in the mail.
There's people from China and India that know who I am.
That's huge. Worth really, if anybody in China, there's like 1 billion of them, so it really doesn't make a difference. Just one of them knows you. Anyway, all right. So yeah, we've insulted China and India. Moving on. So
equal opportunity
offenders here. So basically, I've been at this shit for a while. We're at a different time than clearly I've ever seen and you've ever seen. But I mean, what's your take on the future of switching gears? Well, let's just switch gears to the United States and just all clay target. What we're talking about, all clay targets. I mean, we are dealing with a lot of factors in a game where disposable income is what propels it. We've got a shortage of shells. We've got fuel, tires, hotel. I mean, Jesus Christ, Hampton Inn's going for $200 now, and they're not cleaning your room every day. Where's this game headed?
The outlook, just standing back, looking at all the factors against it, doesn't look very good. To me, the one thing that shooting has going for it is the people that participate in the shooting sports are they really enjoy it. They're very passionate about the hobby, the sport that they participate in. So I think that will help it buck the trend against all the inflation and all the increased costs of participating. Now, it probably will take down the numbers a little bit across the board when it comes to overall participation. But I think you're going to have a group of people that stick with it and help keep things going through all the tough times.
I mean, there's a core group of people that are willing to eat ramen noodles in order to buy a $110 case of shells now. But we are going to lose people. I mean, there's got to be some kind of a change because, right now we're looking at the numbers. I mean, I can tell you from this club, our tournaments for the most part have been gauging by the last 2 or 3 years are where they should be. We had a little bit of anomaly on the last one. Nilo had a big shoot the same weekend as we did, which cost us some, about 20 shooters, so on and so forth. But as the trend goes, it looks like for the most part, guys are saving their money and they're going to the tournaments. Our daily traffic is down. And most people I've talked about, their daily traffic is down. They'll save their money. They'll save the shells. They're not shooting 100 shells a day, practicing 2 or 3 times a week. Cause shit, man. I mean, you go to the range, you shoot 100 targets. 30 for us. It's 32 cents a target.
Well, that's part of that group of people that's passionate about it. They get their enjoyment from going to the tournaments, the competitions, where they can share the camaraderie with their fellow competitors. And that's as much what they're going for as they are the shooting aspect of it.
Yeah, that's right.
You got a certain group of the people that are there to compete, to prove that they're a better shot than anybody else there. But for the most part, people are there because they enjoy the company. They like shooting. They enjoy shooting. They love competing. but ultimately they're there to share a good quality, enjoyable time with their friends who are also their fellow competitors.
The guys that were using Walmart as their stockpile of ammo, the guys that were, buying the shells on the way to the range, I've seen those guys disappear. And then they weren't tournament guys. They might shoot a easy tournament or something like that along the way, but they would shoot recreational at this place. And when they stopped getting, I can go through a list of guys that just don't shoot any place all of a sudden. When they couldn't easily get the shells, they walked away from the game.
Right. And I think you're going to have that in anything. If you take fishing, for example, if fishing lures and fishing rods and, say, minnows and worms aren't easily accessible, well, there's something else that's a little bit easier access that they're probably going to go do for fun that weekend.
That's right.
So that's kind of one of those deals. It's going to be across the board in any hobby-based sport. You're going to have those people that they're going to go above and beyond to participate in what they love and what they want to do. And you're going to have the people that are kind of in between that, maybe, go and spend a little time with my family, taking a short road trip to a national park or something takes precedence over having to drive an hour out of your way to find a case of shells to go shoot that weekend.
Yeah, man. Then you got to throw in you got to figure out the average age of the guy shooting clays now, or shooting redshirt, that is. Is a guy at the end of whatever, they've either established a business or they're retired. And if you take a guy who who's on a fixed income and things go up 10%, then across the board he's got 10% less to spend on coming out here to shoot. You can't.
Right.
You're an idiot if you think that this game can continue on if things are higher. It's not there. Everything has to go. Because you still got to pay the light bill.
Kind of the way I look at it is the last 15 to 20 years have more or less been the heyday of shooting. Yeah, there were some times in the past where you hear some good, cool stories and whatnot, but shooting historically was always considered the game of kings. It was a high-class, high-income person's hobby, and over the last 30 to 40 years, it's become more and more available to the average person here in this country, become available, something that they can participate in and really enjoy. And that's not to take away from anybody in any aspect, but that's just kind of the nature. His shooting has always been kind of that upper echelon of income type of hobby.
There's always one guy that wants to be, you ought to see racing, or you ought to try this. Well, yeah, no shit, man. We're not talking about all that stuff. We're talking about the hobby right now. And as a whole, compared to fishing or golf or something like that, there's so many consumables in this game. You're shooting targets that you can't reuse, and you're shooting shotgun shells that now is a little cost prohibitive to reload because you can't get components. It sucks. You got guys bitching because people bitch. People bitch about everything. But they love the game, but they can't afford the game. But they're going to bitch because they can't afford the game. It's somebody else's problem. The gun club, for the most part, is there for business. It is there to make money. Everything that has cost more money for you has also cost more money for the gun club. So the labor's gone up, the targets have gone up, the shells have gone up, the gas has gone up, so on and so forth. Everything is going to get more expensive. Our income is probably haven't got up because our damn dollar's worth less. So, I can't fix that shit. UNICEF could get into the clay target business maybe, and we could all shoot cheap. But until then, it's going to cost money to put those targets out there.
Owning a gun club is a lot like farming.
Oh, it's horrible.
You buy everything at retail and sell everything at wholesale.
Yeah, you are handicapped for the most part. And I've said this, I think we've had David and we talked about it. Most gun club guys get into the business they don't look at the P&L. They don't look at the raw cost, the actual cost of what it costs to produce that target. And you end up throwing targets for the same price for the guy with less of a facility down the road, or for another club that can't ever figure out what it actually costs to throw targets because they want to throw. They got a bunch of members. The members bitch because they want to shoot cheap. And you're like, well, it costs more than 25 cents to put that target out there.
People forget that you've got all your utility bills, you've got property taxes, you've got your structures on the property, and then your cost of the machines and cost of batteries and cost of wireless equipment. And there's so many hidden costs that go into it that, yeah, the cost of the targets, yeah, they might have gone up a little bit, but when you figure utilities have gone up 10% in the last year, that's going to put a huge damper on how much it costs to go shoot a target.
Well, I mean, that's the truth. Everything gets higher, and then you got shotgun. I'm just looking at an invoice right now from Cyrus, Shotgun Gear Trap Sales and Rentals in Paris, Kentucky. Here's a bill, $241.44 for battery terminals. And I get a monthly bill around that to keep this place going. But for all your trap needs, Cyrus Alexander and Ashley at Shotgun Gear Traps and Rentals, LLC, Paris, Kentucky.
Anyway, yeah, they're a good couple.
They're good people. I just want to give, but there's $244 for just the terminals, and it's just like, you're doing all you can. For us, obviously, we've said this before, we're not here to make money. We like shooting. I grew up in the game, and I want to have a gun club, and we do it. It keeps the farm looking a certain way, and we try to work with everybody. I mean, for most of the time, it's one man show. I've actually got other things that actually that makes money, and I try to deal with the best we can, keep it running. Most of the members, for the most part, will say, "Hey, trap A or trap B is not working on 12." They send me a text message. We fix it. For 7 days a week. It's a struggle. Especially in our area, because it just doesn't make money. What pisses you off when somebody bitches about something not working, and then they never tell you. And you're like, really? What, did you just want to bitch, or did you want me to actually fix the fucking trap? But
the way you're going about it, you just will have a dairy farm.
I might as well have a dairy farm because, like I said, the cows would appreciate getting milk. Some of these guys just bitch, But yeah, it's if you were in Texas and Georgia, Florida, large population, maybe even Ohio, like what they're doing with the Eagle's Nest. You've got to have the population with the disposable income.
Even if you were half the distance from St. Louis,
just access to, because guys like to be. This is once again, as much as we want to pretend, for 90-something% of the guys out there, this is a hobby, and they don't. Even though they may be passionate, they also would like to be at home to take the old lady out, to go take her to Applebee's and whatever. It is like I said, for the most part, it is a love. You're loving the game for doing this shit, and it's like, it is a struggle because, like I said, we now have inflation and higher gas prices, and the other part about running a gun club is it's hard to get help. Nobody wants to work. Yeah. Not that it's hard work, it's just they don't want to do it.
Anytime you bring any kind of physical labor, and hauling targets and hauling batteries and that kind of stuff is physical labor. Generally speaking, the people that you're going to be able to hire are not going to last very long because they don't want to work that hard.
Yeah, our saving grace is we've got Delaney that lives a block over. That her brother used to work for me, and then we got Brady Cox, who is a shooter going to Montreat College, and he likes it because he's around shooters and he gets to shoot. I send him out once a week with free targets, make the bastard clock out, and here's shoot all you want, but make sure the batteries run. That's a pretty good compromise. But our thing with this club is some days we might have 12, 16 guys out there shooting, or some days we won't have anybody. It's not cost effective for me going out there to check the traps and throw targets.
It's not like a club like Northbrook where
No.
you've got a daily business of 50-plus shooters coming out.
50-plus shooters, and that's
And granted, they might not always have that, but generally speaking, they've got enough shooting going on every day to justify the, I don't know what they have now, 10, 15, 20 employees a day.
Oh, it's a monster. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the only thing that we're doing different than any other club is the Coonpecker Open, and it's this year. It's the FLC all around. Which, Derrick, what's your prognostication of you actually getting there this year? You're entered, but
Yeah, well, I kind of hope I can't make it because that means I'm in Croatia at the World Championship shooting bunker
no
trap.
one's ever wanted to be at Croatia. There's no person in this world that is like, hope that I'm in Croatia. There's Croatians that hope they're not in Croatia in end of September.
Well, the guys from Croatia that shoot on their trap team they're pretty stand-up guys. So I'm kind of looking forward to that opportunity. We'll find out into this month. We've got our second selection match to determine who makes that team. We'll see if
the ethnic cleansing doesn't take any issues with the team or anything like that.
Well, you could pass as a Croatian, Gary. They're Eastern European.
Well, we had a couple members on the team. There was an ethnic cleansing. Now we have to go again. But anyway. Yeah, the FLC all around. Man, I'd kind of like to see you shoot it. We got some.
I'd love to shoot it.
We got some names. We got some names this year. I think we've got one. We're missing one. Kyle Doherty. A couple other people haven't made their mind up. They're on the clock for the last spot. I think we got Theo Ribbs coming this year. We've got Gavin Miles, Madison Sharp, Thomas Jacobs last year, young kid out of Kansas, shot good. Todd Hitch is coming back. Trying to think anybody else there. I mean, we had to throw David Niederer in there because he is actually the first winner of the Coonpecker Open. I talked to him this year.
Yeah, the cool thing you've got going this year is instead of being a trap and a skeet and a sporting and Halise and flyers and all of that thrown into one, you have turned it into an all-around of all the games that you have here on your farm.
All the games we've got here at the farm. I mean, I got told, and sadly, Braxton and Michael Oliver can't make it because they moved the dates around. We wanted to go later, and I guess I should have told them, but we wanted to go later where the weather was better so people would hang out, party, and listen to the band and shit more. Because it was hot last year. Everybody partied, but they didn't party as long. But anyway, I gauge a party how good it is. If we're kicking your ass out at 3:00 in the morning, it's a good time. There's still a fire there at 5:30 going because people just went to bed. It's a good time. But anyway, like Michael Oliver told me, he said, Gary, whatever you do next year, we don't want to leave the club. Winchester stepped up. Great facility for doing the trap and skeet portion. And we decided not to do that again because multiple people, like Michael and Braxton, were like, dude, whatever you do, don't make us leave. We had fun here. So we said, fuck it. We'll just do, we bumped it up to 30 box birds, 30 Halise. This year with Aaron Romberg funding the club, we added an auto Halise ring. Thank you, Rick Mein. So we've got 2 Halise rings, it's doing that, 30-30. Then we're going to do a 50 bird wobble. It's going to be scored as kind of like they do in England where the first shot counts as 2, second shot counts as 1. So possible 100 on that.
It's I think it's 3 and 1.
3 and 1? Well, we're doing 2 and 1 because it's America. And then we're doing a 50 bird 5 stand, 100 bird super sport, and a 100 bird feed test. And we're going to do so that's it. There'll be a super final. Screw it. We'll just go ahead and tell them what the super final is going to be.
Don't screw the. Don't.
No, I ain't gonna. Okay, screw it.
Don't leave them hanging.
All right, never could do it. We do have a very, very, very special super final going. That the points for that will be worth 5.
Let's just say it's not for the faint of heart.
It is not for the faint of heart. It is going to be the top 5 or top 6 scores. However, it breaks down. Super final. Each target bird point, whatever, is 5 points. It's going to be pretty wild. We've actually kind of changed the whole course setup for the Coonpecker Open, which is also open to everybody. It's the Illinois State Super Sporting and FITAS going on at the same time. We've actually changed the whole format of where the courses are laid for this event. So that's pretty much all I'm going to tell you. Yeah, like I said, we've got 70-something shooters signed up. We're damn near full on the missing one spot for the all-around. I think we were like 70-something shooters. If you look at it, break down, there's like 10 guys from Illinois signed up. All the locals. I'm putting this out on the Shotgun Sports Network. Hey, guys, you probably ought to sign up if you're from Illinois, because right now the bulk of the guys are from out of state.
And that's September 30th, October 1st and 2nd, correct?
Yep, September 30th, 1st and 2nd of October. Same format, FITAS, Super Sport. We still have the Extreme Challenge, Major Gauge. The 5-stander / compact is open to everybody on certain days. We'll get that up on Score Chaser for that portion of it. Friday night, we got a clam bake and shrimp boil and a Calcutta. Calcutta is for the top, for all the 30 shooters in the all-around. Anybody open to bid. And then Saturday night, traditionally, we have our we're doing fireworks this year. We're doing brass dual catering. We have Outlaw Opry playing again. We may add another band for Friday. Don't know yet. We may have spent that money on fireworks. Not sure. And then Sunday morning breakfast. Everybody shoots. Super finals around 3 or 4 o'clock. And that's it. So, everybody comes out. There's not too many events that you can't socialize. Gosh, what else did we add? I think we did some crazy shit. I think we got an ice cream truck. This year. Sunday, we've got ribs and chicken food truck. We're doing food trucks. We're doing different food trucks.
If nothing else, if you come up, you shoot one event, and you enjoy Gary's wonderful cooking for 3 days.
Oh, I'm only cooking Sunday. I've got special guest cooks this shoot.
Don't lie, Gary. You always end up cooking.
I'm cooking breakfast.
You can't let the kitchen go.
I know. I think we're doing a biscuits and gravy buffet on Sunday for sure, and maybe do omelets. I don't know.
FYI, Gary would make somebody a fine wife.
I'd make a fine wife, just because I always put your needs before me. I'm like a 1950s housewife. My dreams don't matter. But anyway, so enough of the shameless self-promotion. Let's talk about some shit. I actually shot a little bit this year, but I haven't made any major shoots. I want to set the regional up in Northbrook because it's convenient and I need money to pay for.
They're probably going to be hard.
They're probably going to be hard. I mean, not from what I heard compared to the U.S. Open. But,
wait. We're getting back to the real world.
Yeah.
They should all be visible.
They should all be visible. How about that? But like I said, I need to pay for G-Dub and Neil Guy hunt this fall. But anyway, going back to the world of sporting clays, which is the bulk of this audience, what about Brandon Powell's revenge tour this year?
Hey, the guy's been shooting good. You can't knock somebody when they're winning major tournaments. It's
absolutely probably one of the finest natural gun pointers out there. Just a disaster. Everything seems to fall in and around. And like I said, this isn't slanderous or anything to Brandon. It's just, Jesus Christ, the guy is he's just hammering it.
Yeah. I mean the targets we shot at the Open and to go out and shoot the score that he did, pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie.
Bitch can shoot.
I didn't miss many targets inside of 45 yards, and he kicked my rear.
Well, how many times have you always said this? The more people watching Brandon Powell, the better he shoots. I mean, the bastard sits there and shoots make or breaks, and the more watching, the more pressure that the kid just keeps grinding. And I mean, say what you want about him personally, whatever. I didn't get into that shit. I've got enough other black cat bullshit following me around, but the kid shoots well under pressure. And for being laid off for how many years now?
Yeah. I mean, basically back-to-back U.S. Opens for him?
Back-to-back U.S.
I mean, there were quite a few years in between them. But
a couple of years of ineligibility. But, yeah, just like, all right, I'm going to win this son of a bitch. I mean, God bless them. I mean, like I said, it's the score, not the person. So, but anyway, but we're going on to that. So you're heading off. You're here at FLC because you want to eat brass door, but you're going to the World FITASC. And where is the World FITASC this year?
Orvieto, Italy.
Gotcha. What you won your World FITASC about 30 minutes from that place?
Yeah, I think it was roughly 30 miles.
What's the story on? I don't know. Some of us that have shot. We know the target setter. So tell them how FITASC works in Europe as far as who gets the set targets. When
it comes to World Championships, FITASC has a list of what they call certified target setters. One of which is Venero Spada.
Who can shoot?
He's pretty good shot in his own right.
Daughter's pretty good shot.
Yeah, she's international skeet shooter. His son, Michael, had one of the best shooting performances I've ever witnessed up at Caribou in 2015. I think he shot like an 18 or a 19 his first layout, and then never shot less than a 24 again the rest of the way to get all the way up into a shoot-off. I can't remember if it was for second or for third. But that's a pretty strong comeback when the winning score is like 192, 193.
Is that what Gavin won it that year?
Digweed won it.
Or Digweed, right.
And then I know Damian Bergen was up. I think Damian and Michael shot off for silver and bronze.
Gotcha, that's right. Gavin won in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one. But, it's a different world, of course. Like I said, when you talk about FITASC, you say I want to shoot sporting, they actually are talking about FITASC over there because that's what they shoot.
Yeah. The example I always use is the difference between American football and soccer. That is what we call sporting clays. The rest of the world calls English sporting clays. And
FITASC isn't gay though.
Yeah. No, that is the biggest difference. It's not a socialist sport.
Yeah, that is true. We don't have ties.
Exactly.
But no, that's be neat. Like I said, you've done all that stuff, and then you come home and you go to Hillsdale.
Yeah, we've got the national championship, which is also the second half of our world championship team selection process.
Gotcha. I mean, we're talking about all these games. We're talking about the guys that compete at a high level and all that kind of stuff. And, we all hear this. I mean, you and I went through the PSCA and this game is really weird because it is a hobby game. And they say most people on average who's a complete hobbyist is in a game for 7 years. Or any hobby is like 7 years at the most. It's a turnover, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of leads this game to a very, very, very short memory because every 7 years you could probably have 50%, not 50%, but let's say a very large percentage. You're losing a percentage of the game,
and noticeable number of people.
And then these guys have no memory of what happened or who's the shooters or whatever it was 10 years ago.
I would not be shocked if you took a poll at registration at the national championship. I would be shocked if, I want to say 50% of the people that attend the national championship know who a guy like John Kruger is. John's the first guy inducted into the NSCA Hall of Fame.
Handicap shooter.
Won as much as anybody's ever won.
Fireworks enthusiast.
But, he retired from shooting. He still helps out, still sets targets a little bit, still runs a couple shoots. But for the most part, he has all but disappeared from the game.
Yeah, he checks in with me about every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, just sees what's going on because we both obviously got wood junkies and so on and so forth. And he's happy. He got burnt out and he's done.
It happens.
It happens.
You do something for 30 years, you're bound to get burned out.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been able to stay married more than 15 months, but.
You only found one person dumb enough to actually say I do.
And you get bored with that. But anyway, so enough of that shit. But anyway, so here's where I'm going with this point. I kind of lost where I was going, but here we're back. All this shit, We went through the PSCA. Everybody calls himself a professional. So if you're a professional, that means where you draw your living from that field. If you're a professional barber, you cut hair. We've touched upon this bullshit. It's like they'll argue that there's no such thing as professional because I make my money from shooting or so on and so forth. But they say, well, no, I make my living from this, from giving lessons, but then they get turned around, well, I'm a professional shooter. But there's no money. I mean, you go look at Score Chaser and see what they want. Okay? And if you're an idiot, Jesus Christ, there's a calculator app on your iPhone. Hotels are high, gas is high, entry fees are high. I mean, obviously, sometimes your sponsors pick up your shit like that. And if you're wanting to or claiming that you're a professional, I'll ask you a question. You're as top tier as there is. What the fuck is wrong with these guys that they won't put money up in these classes or in these shoots where the pot is decent enough so when you have a good day, you take home money? What's the issue?
I wish I knew. I wish I knew what the difference between now and 25 years ago was.
Or now in pigeons.
Yeah, it's
what's wrong with these people?
I like you said, I wish I knew. I'm willing to go bet on my abilities to break more clay targets than the next guy.
It doesn't make any sense.
I can't speak to anybody else on what their thought process is or why they won't play the options or anything like that. But it certainly has changed the game, and I'm not sure it's changed the game in a positive way. When the winner of a tournament today is bringing home the exact same dollar figure that they were 25 years ago, and the entry fee has gone up 200%, or the cost of getting there has gone up 200%.
Yeah.
That to me makes you scratch your head and start raising questions onto what is really going on in our sport.
Well, I mean, that's a really good point. We have our morning conversations that we always had for many years now. This is the whole can of worms that we went 41 minutes on the rest. This may end the show here, but let's talk about this. We have a problem in this game that 96 was the first year for Masters, 95.
It'd been, I think 97 was the first year of Masters.
Something like that. I think
96 or 97.
I think 96. I made it at 98, 97. I think I was like 19.
Yeah, anyway, I think it was 98 was the first year you could punch into Masters.
I punched in the Masters in 2 shoots. I remember that, one being a Ducks Unlimited shoot, one being the Nationals. But anyway, whatever. So here's the deal. The original complaint, and this may be a long-winded one, so everybody needs to sit down and hang with us because I'm going to get to it here in a second. The original problem with Masters, the original issue, the reason they created Masters was because guys complained that there were people at a higher tier that was taking all the money and taking all the wins. So we need to get those guys out. Guys like Boo Dykes, which nobody knows who the hell Boo Dykes is probably, unless you've been in this game for a while or still shoot pitching. He is a national champion. Look him up, people. It's in the book. Andy Duffy, Kruger, so on and so forth. I mean, I ain't going to go through all. Thuron, Woodward, I think he's in jail now.
Yeah. Alan Crump.
Guys that are just give up. Okay. And the problem was, hey, man, we want those guys out because they work. Purser, I believe, probably was one of the first ones. And Robbie, shoot, I like Robbie. He's vaccinated with a phonograph needle, but I like Robbie. Good old boy. Hell of a sportsman. Hell of a duck shot. Anyway, some people get that joke. So they put him in their special master class. They all had to shoot on a separate rotation. They all had a different number on them. Then people said...
Much to the same as what people are calling for today.
The same thing they're calling for now. And the second they made the Masters, everybody wanted to be a fucking master. And now you got guys in master class. And I'm getting to the point here. Now you got guys in master class. They aren't winning. And we have an issue where the master class is the biggest shoot, and we lose guys because there's no reward for them going to shoot. They make master, and about a year or two later, after they realize that they're getting punched up at a local shoot, did not equate to them being good. And they use it for it's like a lot of instructors. Hey, I'm an instructor, so therefore I know anything about shooting. No, you're an instructor. Same way some people hang on this master thing as it was instead of a class, it's a level of achievement. Right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. So how do we fix that? And this is up for argument, and people can bitch about it, but you and I talked about this. If there's money to be won at a shoot by shooting a class that you're competitive in, my feelings are, my opinion, just an opinion, you're more likely to take the down class if you can go make a couple $1,000.
I'd have to agree with you. I mean, the minute that you make it feasible for, you take the national championship, for example, because it's easy numbers, roughly 2,000 shooters.
2,000 shooters.
If the top 20 shooters in each class get back their entry fee for the whole week, well, then what is the incentive to not turn that?
The money stays in class.
Yeah.
The size of the class funds.
If you've got 200 shooters in each class and you've got 800 shooters in master class, well, yeah, the purse is going to be different based on the number of shooters in that class, but you also have the opportunity for more people in that class to bring home money.
Yeah, let's figure it out. What's entry fee to the Nationals right now?
Just over $300.
$329,
something like that.
All right, let's just reuse round numbers. $320. Let's say $325 is what it costs the club to run the shoot. Let's add another 175 mandatory targets. Let's bring her up to $500. $500 for you to go to the NSCA Nationals. Jesus Christ, when your car gets broken into, your deductible on your glass is going to be at least that, right? So I can hear Zach right now. You don't get broken in down there. I'm like, no, you had your truck stolen. So now we've got $350,000 in the Nationals for a $175 extra, mandatory. $350,000 in that pot with a $175, which if you got the money to go to the Nationals.
That's one night of hotel room.
That's one night of hotel room. That don't go to BJ's right there at the edge. Of course, stay home from Perry's. Don't go to Perry's one night. So $175 on the $4,000 you're going to spend. That ain't going to break you, y'all. So now we got $350,000 of your raw money. If there are, say, there's 1,000 masters.
I think there's usually about 800.
So let's go 1,000 because I'm not good at math. I'm not Asian. So that's $175,000. Half of that goes into $175,000. Goes into your master class purse. All of a sudden, there's money in the game.
Yeah, it's pretty simple numbers.
And if you're competing for that and figure out how do you break it down, however you want to break it down, then you can be a professional. You can claim your weekend paid for your thing, your P&L.
Right. You take that number, and even if you break it down to where 25% of you shooters, so 1 out of every 4 shooters in master class gets a chunk of that $175,000.
Yeah.
Your top 25 guys are still going to bring home well more than what they spent to go.
Yeah, I mean, and then
that's not figuring in all the side events.
That's not figuring in the side events. That's just main event. And then you can stop all the crying for the guys that said we don't want the professionals to take our money. Take the down class then. You got guys that are. That's my hydroponics over there turning on. You got guys that are
Gary. You don't live in Oklahoma.
It's tomatoes. They can go look at them. It's not weed. But no, I mean, you guys. Then you can be a professional if you do that at every shoot, and it's not going to break you for $1.75. That's a case of shells. Case of shells and some change.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can call ourselves a professional at that point. And then you got guys that if they go look and say, well, I would have won AA and I would have took home $5,000 for winning AA or $10,000, they might take the damn down class.
Right. And and on top of this, if you were to say take the sponsorship dollars that are spent by companies in the industry on the event and put that back to the shooters, then all of a sudden our national championship could say they're paying out $750,000. What kind of attention does that level of payouts?
The money's going to draw in more sponsors. It's going to provide media coverage. I mean, like I said, what did you win the last year you won nationals?
I'd have to go look, but it wasn't. It was pennies compared to what we're talking.
I mean, like your basic.
It was less than $20,000.
Yeah, and everything you want, and you beat so many people. You took national championship. It's just, it's when you, like I said, I've switched. Everybody knows I kind of switched over to shooting box birds. When you come there and all of a sudden you've had 2 or 3 years of box birds, that's about right. I mean, obviously I grew up in it, but been away from it, went back to it. And then you come back and look at it and you're like, dude, you're looking at it. You're going to go spend $4,000. You're going to cost $2,500 going to region.
Oh, at least. And that's easy. I mean,
So 600 shooters at a regional, and let's put 150 back in. There's now $90,000 in the pot. 90 G's. For 600 shooters at a regional. $150 is not, if it drives them off, if that is one less event, they won't shoot the 22 shot shell pump, whatever, speed task. Okay. Some of these, I mean, as a club owner, some of these side events are break even at the most. If you're trying to attract guys that come,
if you're lucky, the one thing that you got is the people are already there. Americans love to shoot shotgun shells. They love to pull the trigger, and they're going to pull the trigger as much as possible.
I mean, I just think, like you said, you'd bring a lot of sponsors into the game by putting the monies up there. Everybody's got attorneys attached to them. Lord knows I've got plenty of attorneys that I pay off in a weekly basis. Go look at what the gambling regulations are on a Calcutta. Teach these guys what a Calcutta is. We did that at the U.S. Open, and we said, remember we explained what Calcutta, and they're all like a blank stare. It's like a Biden voter out there looking up at you. I'm like, it's Calcutta. You guys know what it is? And I'm like, no, guys, what you're going to do is you're going to pick the shooter or buy the place. We do places or shooters.
I think we sold the shooter.
How interesting is it? Because now it is, we have talked about this before. You've got people willing to, we're going to do a live podcast at the North Central Regional because, I may even do it on the course. I may bug your ass if y'all want to be, whatever. We use our social medias. Hell, I may talk to you on the course, But anyway, do the Calcuttas. If people will tune in to what is going on in a shoot because of Score Chaser, you got guys that watch it all the time. You come home.
They stock the scores, and pretty much within 10 minutes of you firing your last shot, when they get your score posted, the whole world knows.
So they're paying attention. So let's capitalize on that. Let's have a Calcutta. Illinois sports gambling's legal. We could do that with online sports gambling is legal in Illinois. We could do that in North Central. You could have an online Calcutta going on, betting on who's going to win. Then it's interesting. Now it's a game. Shooting's boring. You know that. Boring shit to watch. It's paint dry. It's paint dry with firearms.
you can use golf as an example. To watch a guy hit a golf ball, yes, the PGA professionals are very impressive when they hit a golf ball. But to watch him strike a golf ball 72 times on 18 holes can get rather boring.
I mean, we did watch your final. We had that. We had the second TV in the.
What were you watching on the first TV?
Ben broke it. And
I figured you were watching Yellowstone or something like that on the first TV and just glancing over it.
I can't stomach Kevin Costner. I mean, I know it's a great show, and is it Tweeter? I got a hell of a crush on her, but every time I see Kevin Costner, I'm like, you liberal bastard, I just can't watch your shit. But Tweeter's my type of white trash hot. But anyway, Brett always told me, you don't marry the strippers, Gary. You just date them. Anyway, so going back to that, I think we're trying to be like a Unitarian church with this sporting glaze, that we have to take everybody in, and we want it to be affordable because, like we just said, it's always been it's an expensive game that at the golden age it was halfway affordable for everybody. So then we've got this mindset is we have to keep our prices right there at the bare minimum because so and so that's a whatever they do for a living can't afford it. If it's $200, let's can we afford that with the way the economy is?
You can't, because the cost of living has gone up, and so for a club to keep things at the bare minimum, you're looking at having to add number of competitors for them to make any money.
Yeah, it's not a good game. Volume is not good.
When things have gotten as expensive as they are, say most people that come to a regional, they want to bring their Polaris or their Can-Am or their John Deere, their side-by-side. So you figure they're driving a minimum of average probably 300 miles at, say, 11, 12 miles a gallon, pulling that Ranger or that golf cart, or even if they don't bring one, then they rent a golf cart at $75 a day.
If you're lucky, that's getting exorbitant. I might as well go rent a smart car.
So you're looking at an extra $300 in fuel just to bring your side by side or your golf cart.
Yeah.
Well, everything's getting expensive.
Everything's getting expensive.
Ammo is 60% higher than what it was 3 years ago.
I just got some double A's in the other day, and if you would have priced those to me 2 years ago, I would have said go to hell. But it was a smoking deal, and Winchester took care of us. And this is me being I got Federal across the road from me, but Winchester took care of us, and we're very thankful for that. We didn't do Brett told me to do never. You've heard the story about the barrel sale, right?
No.
So, me on Facebook and like trolling people, we got our shell barrel down there.
Yeah.
And I laid the top of it full of extra light double A's. Took a picture, put it up on the Facebooks, and I said, hey guys, end of the year Winchester, the annual Winchester barrel sale. Show up with any container, and for a special price, I don't know what I said, by the pound or by the whatever, you can fill your barrel up. And I put it up on one of the clay groups, and people started saying, is this real, and stuff like that. And I think it was Donnie Ballard was like, hey, Gary, Brett says that's really funny, but take that shit down, please, because they were getting calls on the Winchester annual barrel sale. I mean, people are gullible, but I mean, going back to where we're at, and like I said, this isn't, of course,
we never want anybody to not participate in this game, because it is a wonderful game. We all love it.
Good friendship,
and we want to facilitate anybody that we can to participate.
Correct, but we have to. When it goes to it's top tier. It's the premium level of shoots, U.S. Open, Nationals, stuff like that.
We can't afford as a sport for gun clubs to what do you want to call it? subsidize the game. If a gun club is subsidizing the game, that means they are selling stuff basically at break even to keep stuff as cheap as possible.
Welcome to FLC.
Now, one thing I know about Gary is he is not going to break even or lose money, but I will promise you he does sell stuff as cheap as he can and still pay his bills.
Hey, we just put gay lights on the porch. The Eric Barnett patio.
Thank you, Barge.
Yeah, the Eric Barnett with the AF fund. Because I don't know if anybody knows the story.
AR fund.
The AR fund, the Aaron Romberg fund. I was told that he's funding the club now. But anyway, so long story short, I don't. People have been here. We've got the pit. We put all the lights and the signs, the outdoor kitchen, shit like that. Well, we had just put them up, turned them all on. Everybody was sitting back watching it. And Eric Barnett, if everybody knows him, 20 years we've been friends. I think we spent most holidays together for the last 20 years. But anyway, good guy. He was sitting there. He was a little fucked up, and he just leans back. Nice night. Looks up. All the lights are on the pit. They're cascading up on the ceiling. Big cathedral. Look, he goes, man, I just love me some gay lights. Ever since then, we've called them gay lights, the string lights.
Now there are two poles, each holding two ropes of
more gay
said
lights on the Eric Barnett patio. But next to the Aaron Romberg ring, just down from the Ed Kalman Way, who Ed Kalman passed away. We named the road after him, which the Ed Kalman Way leads to the Bob Maples practice grid. So if you want to be infamous or famous or have a memorial, come to FLC because we'll name some shit after you. we have the Brandon Lee for Chalet on the lake now.
When are you going to have the Fitzjarrell Senior FU Longbird course?
Oh my God, that's pretty much daily, isn't it? But no, but like I said, I don't know if anybody takes this wrong or what we're trying to say. As far as top tier guys, I'm trying to make a point by if you guys, and you guys are trying to make a living for it. I would like to see top tier guys like you, Zach, Anthony, so on and so forth.
Anybody that shoots a winning world-class score, which it takes to win any of our major competitions.
It should be plus in the column. You should pay for the hotel room, your entry fees, your shells.
Travel to get there. And I want you walking away with money. No, this is a very cruel. Hell, life is a cruel reality.
If you don't want to participate because you know that you don't have a prayer's chance or whatever chance in hell to taking money, prayer's chance, I don't know what I'm talking about, but taking home any money, and you had an option of getting a down class, then you ought to take the down class because you might get paid to getting classed up.
Well, a good buddy of ours, Andy Schoen. I think he's been down class twice now. He's not scared to take the down class because he knows when he goes back to AA,
bird shooter.
He is competitive in AA.
He's bird shooter too. He's there. Fuck the candy dishes. I want money. And I mean, I don't think Andy can make the all around. I would just like.
Yeah, he's probably going to be picking corn or something like that.
I'd really like to introduce a whole new people to Andy Schoen because only guy you can tell shut the fuck up on a sporting clay course, and he says, "Oh yeah, all right."
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can't keep it down, but I'll try.
Andy, get the fuck out of my house. You're drunk. Okay. Great guy. I mean, the son of a bitch. If you were in Kazakhstan and you had a flat tire and you called him, you say, "Hey Andy, I got a flat tire." "Hey Andy, I don't have a pen and I'm in Kazakhstan." "Okay, I'll be there in a couple of days. Just hold tight." He
would do it too.
G-Dub loves the son of a bitch, but and then once again, what we're talking about right now is the people you meet in this game. The candy dishes don't mount to shit. I mean, shit. There's right over the side of the counter here is a ton of dad's Olympic shit and fucking qualifying shit that don't mean nothing. Tap the books. that means nothing. It's who you meet. And like I said, we're talking about Shone.
Yeah.
Like the coonpecker, you come out September 30th, 2nd, you shoot some good targets, you party, eat some good food, meet some interesting people. We got the whole crew coming back from Colorado.
The coonpecker goes back to me, the most enjoyable days of sporting clays. You get, 400, 500, 600 targets?
I think it's 400 targets. I think that's all you got.
And
roughly.
So you get to go shoot a good amount of targets. You're not scrambling to get to every event that you can get to. And the rest of the time you spend stuffing your face with good food, having good time with friends, good bar. Environment, open bar. It's just a good old-fashioned shoot where you're not worn out because you're shooting way too much. And you get to have a good time with your friends. You make good friends. It's a good time.
It's like Doug Fuller's. I mean, like I said, I think the first time I met you, long time ago,
the whole Midwest Feed Task.
Doug Fuller's, and Skytook, Oklahoma, some Indian name, Oklahoma. That's the first time I ever met your dad. Shot Feed Task with him. Had a good cook. Anything I've done here is nothing that I originated. It's something I stole from somebody else. Doug had that local guy that cooked. He built him a kitchen, good food. You shot your Feed Task. You shot a 100 bird if you wanted to sporting.
And that was it.
I
think it was 150 bird Feed Task over 2 days. And then there was a prelim sporting and then another 100 bird sporting event.
ESP Cup, something Cup, Angleport Cup.
And he always had a good make or break.
Yeah. That's right. Had a good make or break. And it was back in the days when it was, it was the guys that wanted to shoot Feed Task. They all come up here. I remember Gary Greenway coming up. I shot with James Severn.
Dusty Loberg would come down, and it was always just a good time.
Good time. The old boy had a good cook, and like I said, you shot.
Our buddy Abel Spire, he's trying to go back to those Oklahoma roots a little bit, and he's having to shoot in September.
I like that shit.
Gonna kind of be along the same lines. It's not going to be a lot of targets available, but it's going to be good targets. Going to be a good time. I think he told me the other day he's got like $6,000 guaranteed pot for the make or break.
I mean, that's good. I mean, and with the way costs are going, we may have to go back to the old things where you shot 150 Feed Task and you didn't leave on a Tuesday or a Monday.
You show up Thursday night, you shoot 500 targets over 3 days, and you still go home Sunday night, and you can get to the airport by 6-7 o'clock. And
of course, this is obviously personality. Some guys, you and I shoot all the time. Even though I've not been competing a lot lately, we still shoot. There's a lot of guys that don't shoot every day, and I understand that those guys want to go just shoot. I mean, fuck, I live at a gun club. I shoot when I want to. I get that. But I'm also, my personality from, I assume, trap background, I assume pigeon background.
You are a trap shooter.
Fuck you. I'm the last guy to leave a bar. I'm the last guy. I'm the last guy to leave the parking lot. I want to be leaned over that tailgate, drinking a whiskey, talking bullshit, because for me personally, when I'm at a shoot, then I can get away from all of this. There's a lot of shit going on. Right now I'm working on 2 solar projects in 2 different states. I go to the shoot. I'm at a shoot. I want to suck all the life out of that shoot and have a good time.
I know you remember 20 years ago, Sunday night at the Nationals, there'd be 100, 200 people sitting in the stadium waiting for the award ceremony.
That was good times.
Now, if you get 50, 60 people left, that's amazing.
That shouldn't be, because the shoot's bigger. Shoots 5 times. I don't know how big it is. Like I said, the first national I went to was probably 300 shooters, maybe 400 shooters.
I think my first one was 96. I think there were 900 shooters.
I think there's a 92. I think there's a 92 competitor number on the wall down there. Man, I wish I would have saved all those. We could have wallpapered a fucking house. I
mean,
92.
I think now you're seeing numbers 21, maybe 2,200. shooter numbers. Now, granted, you have cancellations and whatnot,
10%
but
cancellation.
you're still 2,000 shooters shooting something at the national championship.
I just think we've got to a saturation that I'm afraid if things go slip, so on and so forth, then it's a big fall. And, like I said, going back to what my point was about making more of a mandatory money that it stays in class, you don't know who's going to take offense at that statement, but it's like this. You guys work your ass off. You sacrifice a lot to get to this level of performance. I want you fuckers to get paid. The biggest – obviously I never gave a shit who I insult. The biggest insult was World English. George Digweed beats everybody $3,500, and then Ryan Harper takes second. We had a pigeon shoot the same fucking weekend. The guy that won the pigeon shoot here took home more money beating 18 guys or 20 guys than Harper did for taking second, shooting his ass off. Beats, I don't know who he beat in the shoot off, but he second place. This guy, that's pretty amazing, but he didn't get paid for it. But, that's what I'm saying is award excellence. That's the thing. Fuck it. Let's just talk about it. We talk about Harvey. He beat Harvey in the shoot-off. I'm sorry, I was taking two things at once. We talk about this trophy generation. Well, what the fuck? We've turned into the trophy generation. Yeah. Let's not award excellence. Just throw a candy dish at them and make sure it's competitive and we all feel good because we competed. Fuck that shit. Award excellence. We can't complain about the trophy generation and carry it into our daily lives.
Yeah. Everyone should be able to take pride in winning something. And when all you get is a little plexiglass platter.
Get paid, motherfucker. That tarnishes.
Yeah.
How many of them national trophies you got that just...
I take the gift cards.
I don't know. I like to have something to make G-Dub dust when I'm in a chair drilling and pissing myself. But yeah, it's like you take them out of the box and where you put your hands on them and there's a bunch of them and you got your permanent thumbprints. Well, I guess we're going to be able to identify it's mine.
I got all my cups from Mexico. They're all black.
Oh, God, yeah. They gave out wooden trays one time. Do you remember the wooden trays?
One of the coolest trophies, it was my dad's first year at Nationals. He won his class in 5-stand. And it's this federal shadow box display of old boxes and old casings, and it's got an old federal calendar. It's a really cool.
That's pretty cool.
That kind of stuff, that to me is a worthy trophy of winning your class at the national championship.
Claybird Classic gave out crystal nightlights. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Those were neat. I got some of those, and then
I remember Dad talking about those. He never, I don't think he ever won one.
Doug Fuller gave out bronze buffaloes.
Yeah, I think
Sam Frieda gave out the eagle heads. I got a bunch of eagle heads.
They did buffaloes as well.
I got
They also did some bears, and they did Claythorne did a little bit of everything.
I got one of them gold bronze buffaloes from going back to Doug Fuller's. I forgot who I lost to. I runnered up there and got the bronze buffalo.
I think it was me.
No, it wasn't you. Shit, you didn't even know how to load a shotgun there. You were running around the parking lot with one of those pop things that they got Rick got you at Bass Pro.
It was a 30320 gauge.
Oh, bullshit.
Actually, it might have actually been
H&R topper, But everybody was lying to you. Yeah, you hit that target, Derrick. Yeah, good job. Yeah, you clapped. That was a good shoot, though. Yeah, like I said, anything I've stole, everything I've done, I've just stole from somebody else. And like I said, I always said, everybody can eat, everybody can drink, everybody can bullshit. The shooting. I don't want guys that want to shoot a marathon. I'm sorry, I just don't. Like I said, I want guys to hang out. I want to talk to y'all. I want y'all to have fun. I want you to, enjoy the targets and not be rushed. I mean, shoot the event, have fun with the event. Don't go rush yourself to go shoot.
everybody can always remember the stories and hearsay stories of all the shooting competitions of days gone by. And I feel like the Coonpecker Open is one of those shoots that in 20 years, people are going to be talking about the memory days.
I hope so.
And, you know, that is what everybody remembers. They always remember the good times and the lore of the great shooters and the good stuff like that. And the Coonpecker is centered around those good old days of shooting and allowing those opportunities to still happen.
Well, we've also got the stickers, so that's a big deal. And Colonel Shoemaker, thank God Ben Shoemaker came in.
You better be charging $100 a sticker.
I ruined him by getting him to shoot box birds, but Ben handles the all around pretty well, and we're doing a good sticker this year. We'll tell you right now, Jamie Dolliner and Bear Pelt is building the gun condoms for all the competitors, which are going to be cool. You got to be a competitor in the all around to get the gun condom, but everybody's going to get the limited edition Coonpecker Open sticker. But other than that, man, I tell you what, dude, we need to turn it loose. It's been late. You got to go to Italy, and I got to. The fuck am I doing tomorrow? Oh yeah, I got Hallie shooters. So all right, dude. Well, we're going to turn it loose, and thanks again, Derrick. And then hopefully we're going to try to get Ed Solomons in for the next one. I think he had, I don't know what he had.
Maybe I'll corner him and we'll call you from Italy.
That'd be nice. I think he had a gender reassignment surgery this afternoon. He couldn't make it. But yeah, call us from Italy. I tell you what, if you can get that dickhead on the phone, we could do a quick live stream because I do know how to do that. We can just live stream to
You better have G-Dub here to make sure it goes
G-Dub.
right.
I'll have G-Dub. Well, that's, that way we'll have G-Dub here, and that's close enough. Ed needs to be the children. But anyway, give us a holler. We'll be around. Thanks, Derrick.
Out.